Have you ever worked a job so strange that the rules didn't just feel out of place? They felt dangerous? That's exactly what I faced during my night shifts at the mall. It wasn't your typical retail gig. There were rules, specific ones with grave consequences if broken. At first, I thought they were just quirky superstitions from my eccentric boss. But the moment I broke one, I realized the truth. Those rules weren't guidelines. They were survival instructions. I had just started the job last October. The economy was rough, and I needed something, anything to cover my bills. When I saw the listing for a night guard position at the Westwood Mall, I didn't think twice. It seemed straightforward. Sit in the office, monitor the cameras, and make rounds. Easy money. During my first shift, the manager, Mr. Wren, handed me a typed sheet of rules. Never leave the office between 2:33 a.m. and 2:44 a.m. If the mannequins in the boutique window move, do not acknowledge them. If you hear whistling from the east wing, lock yourself in the supply closet immediately. Don't answer the mall phone after 3 a.m. Never, under any circumstances, go near the elevator on the west side after midnight. I laughed, thinking it was some kind of prank. You're serious? I asked. Mr. Wren's expression didn't falter. Follow them, and you'll be fine. Break them, and you won't last a week. His tone sent a chill down my spine, but I brushed it off. Superstitions, I thought. Some bizarre initiation ritual to scare new hires. My first night was uneventful. The cameras showed empty hallways, dark storefronts, and the occasional flicker of fluorescent lights. I made my rounds and stuck to the rules, not because I believed in them, but because I didn't want to test them just yet. By the third night, I was more relaxed. The boredom had set in. I started reading a book, glancing at the monitors every so often. That's when I saw it. The mannequins in the boutique window had moved. At first, I thought it was my imagination. I zoomed in on the feed. There was no mistaking it. The once static figures had shifted positions. One mannequin, which had been seated, now stood upright, its blank face angled toward the camera. I felt a bead of sweat roll down my temple. Don't acknowledge them, I whispered, reciting the rule. I forced myself to look away, my heart pounding in my chest. For the rest of the night, I avoided the boutique's camera feed, but I could feel them, those lifeless figures watching me. The next night, I decided to test the rules. It wasn't out of bravery, but sheer frustration. I was tired of feeling like a puppet in someone else's game. It was just after midnight when I approached the west side elevator. I hadn't gone near it before, but tonight, curiosity got the better of me. The doors were pristine, reflecting the dim light of the hallway. I pressed the button. Nothing happened. I pressed it again. This time, the doors creaked open, revealing a pitch-black shaft. The elevator wasn't there, just an empty void stretching downward. A cold draft seeped out, carrying with it the faint sound of breathing. Before I could react, a shadow shifted in the darkness. It wasn't the kind of shadow cast by light, but something darker, something alive. I stumbled back, the hairs on my neck standing on end. The doors slammed shut with a force that echoed through the hall. I ran back to the office, my breath ragged. That was my first mistake. The next night, everything changed. It started around 2:30 a.m. The cameras began glitching, static cutting through the feeds. I tried adjusting the controls, but nothing worked. Then, at 2:33, the lights in the office flickered and went out. I remembered the rule. Never leave the office between 2:33 and 2:44. Something banged against the door. Once, twice, then a long, dragging scrape, as if claws were raking against the metal. Stay calm, I told myself, gripping the desk. But the noise didn't stop. It circled the office, scratching, knocking, tapping. Then the phone rang. I stared at it, frozen. It wasn't 3 a.m. yet, but the rules didn't mention calls before then. My gut told me not to answer, but the ringing grew louder, more insistent. Against my better judgment, I picked it up. "Hello?" A voice, low and guttural, whispered. "You broke the rules." The line went dead. The scratching outside intensified, and the temperature in the room plummeted. My breath fogged the air. I backed away from the door, clutching the rule sheet like it was a holy relic. The lights flickered back on at 2:44. The noises stopped, but I knew something was wrong. The final straw came on my 5th night. I was doing my rounds when I heard whistling from the east wing. A haunting melody, soft and slow, echoing through the empty halls. My blood ran cold. The supply closet was just a few feet away. I sprinted toward it, slamming the door shut behind me. I fumbled with the lock, my hands shaking. The whistling grew louder, closer. It wasn't just a tune, it was a taunt. Through the slats of the closet door, I saw a shadow pass by. It was tall and distorted, its limbs unnaturally long. It stopped outside the door, the whistling fading into a low hum. I held my breath, praying it would go away. Minutes passed. The shadow moved on. When I finally emerged, the hallway was empty, but the air felt wrong, heavier, colder. I decided then and there that I couldn't stay another night. I quit the next morning, leaving my uniform and badge on Mr. N's desk. He didn't ask why. He just nodded, as if he knew. To this day, I don't know what I encountered during those shifts. All I know is that the rules were there for a reason, and breaking them was a deadly mistake. If you ever find yourself working a job with strange rules, take them seriously. Some things can't be explained, and some mistakes can't be undone. If you enjoyed the story, hit that subscribe button for more chilling tales. And remember, in the face of the unknown, sometimes it's better not to ask questions. Stay safe out there.